Thank you for joining me for the virtual launch party of Starfish. I have two very, very special guests with me tonight. One is Lynda Mullaly Hunt, New York Times bestselling author, whom I adore, and I have her books here right beside me. And she's coming to us from Massachusetts today. And then coming clear from across the pond in Dublin, Ireland, I feel like I need like a drum roll here, is Tara O'Brien, the amazing illustrator of the cover of Starfish. Woohoo! I was trying to pick this up as I went, see? Lynda Mullaly Hunt. Mullaly. Sorry, I keep doing that. I'm horrible at names.
No, that's fine.
No, it's not fine. I need to get better at that. But anyway, so welcome. And thanks for everyone who's joining us. And if I don't get to one of your comments, I'm going to see this later. It's going to be recorded. So I will try to get with you later if I don't see you now, because this is kind of a lot to try to manage at one time. But fortunately, I have like... we have an Oz behind the curtain. Her name is Kelsey, and she's making all this happen. She's doing all of our tech for us, and she's absolutely amazing. And I'll also be sending a link about her on my Twitter. So if you ever need something like this, you can use her. So you want to get started? Lynda is going to lead the way. She's our fearless leader for the evening. And so I will let her take it away. And I hope to see some people from Ireland chiming in.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. I'm so glad that you're here. I can hold up Lisa's book as well. Very excited to be a part of this, very honored. So, Lisa, we talked a few minutes ago about introductions. So, well, I guess you did those. It's funny, I was just saying I'm more nervous for this event than I am for my own, which is kind of fun. All right, so according to our schedule, Lisa, who must have some sort of iron will, has not unboxed her copies of her book. So
no. Are you ready? Okay, I pre-cut them because I was like, I can see me like cutting my hand off during this and it being a bad situation. So I went ahead and cut them. I just have to flip up and open them. But I haven't seen them yet. And I think that I get some kind of special award for my ability to not look at them in over a week.
Yeah, you do. You do.
You've had them for a week.
Yes.
I would be in that box immediately.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Woo!
This is the first time I've held it in my hands, people. If I start to cry, cut out. It's amazing. Oh, Tara, I keep saying that wrong. I swear to God, I'm going to smack myself. Oh, isn't this beautiful? Look at her work, you guys.
It is. Applause.
Oh, so good. All right. So now I can actually start, I'm gonna mail you one, Tara.
You're gonna
I'm gonna sign one and mail you one.
Okay, great.
We've got this little gig rigged out where I can send her one and she'll send me one back, and that way we can have each other's signature.
I think my one is gonna arrive this week, and then I'll send it out immediately. So they should arrive at the same time.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
All right. So that's exciting. Yay.
Yeah, that's very cool. And again, Iron Will Award. That's incredible.
Yes, the Iron Will Award.
So why don't we start off, Lisa? Why don't you give us a little synopsis of the book, and then you wanted to do some shout outs.
Yes. Okay, so Starfish is about a girl named Ellie who is bullied relentlessly about her weight. And she's bullied from all sides. She's bullied by society, she's bullied at school, and she's bullied at home. And so she learns over the course of the book and her journey that there's something wrong with the people who are cruel and not her. And then she also learns that she has a right to be seen and to be heard and take up her space and her place in the world. And if you see, you know, every time I look at this cover, I just smile so big. Tara is amazing. But you can see she's starfishing. If you think of the shape of a starfish, she's starfishing. And what that means is you're not afraid to take up your space in the world, because if you've ever been fat, you know that you are made to feel small, and people really kind of want you to be small. Everything is about making you small in some way. And so that's what Starfish is all about. And to give out shout outs, I would love to give a shout out to my amazing editor, who is also Lynda's editor, the amazing Nancy Paulsen. So she had originally, Starfish was a YA novel, and Nancy, I'm standing here staring at Lynda, so I'm saying Lynda. Nancy was smart enough, because she's a genius, to know that it really needed to be a middle grade. And as soon as she explained why it should be a middle grade, I'm like, of course it should. And that's why you're the editor and I'm just a writer. And so I rewrote it, and it became a middle grade, and it's exactly what it should be. And I can't thank her enough for it. And look, Sonia Sones, who is a mentor of mine turned friend. And she's an amazing author herself in free verse. And this is one of the books, Sonia Sones' book, my favorite book of Sonia's, that I'll be giving away tonight. So if you comment on Twitter and you tag me and you talk about something you saw or you heard during this, then you have a chance to win one of 10 books. So there you go. And then I also want to give a shout out to Lisa Fleisick, who is my agent, and she's amazing. She's like a cheerleader, and I'm going to have to get her a cheerleader outfit. I told her this last week. She's not so into it, but I think I'm going to have to talk her into it. So, because she's amazing, and she understands me and my writing, and is such a huge supporter of Starfish and Ellie. And then I want to thank also Carrie Ann Holt, who wrote a blurb for the back of the book of Starfish. I'm trying to get to her book here. House Arrest. She's an amazing poet as well. And so thank you, Carrie. And then Padma. She wrote The Bridge Home, and this is also one of the books you could try to win. So thank you, Padma, for putting a beautiful blurb on the back of Starfish. And again, here's Carrie Ann Holt, K.A. Holt, who wrote a blurb as well. So I have a lot of people to thank that got here tonight. How about you, Tara? Do you have any people you want to thank?
You? Yeah, the whole team, like you've mentioned most of them. The person I was in contact with at Penguin was Laura and Kelly, and big thank you to them. They were amazing to work with. Yeah.
The first time they sent me your draft, the first draft of the cover, I cried, because I was like, if this is the first draft, we're golden. We're golden. I mean, it was amazing. So, thank you, Janet. All right. I can't remember. See, this is why you're in charge, Lynda, because I can't remember what we're supposed to do next.
Well, actually, I'm going to change the order a little bit. And why don't we go to Tara and hear about her process of creating this beautiful cover, since that's what we're talking about.
Sure. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So this was over. Like, I'm not going to get the order quite right, because this was 13 months ago, maybe. Penguin got in contact with me, gave me a quick rundown of the plot, and I was sold immediately. I was like, oh my God, this is my life. So I was over the moon. Like, I hadn't read any of the book, but I could already tell, like, I was going to cry. Like, I was like, I was so excited. So eventually got the first draft. I think there was still like chapters and stuff missing from it, but it was, so I feel very privileged. Did I get maybe the YA version?
Yes, you got the YA version.
I feel very privileged. And yeah, it was actually very easy. Like there wasn't much thinking. I knew that I wanted Ellie to be starfishing, and the few sketches I sent over all had Ellie like that. There was no point really exploring anything else because that was quintessential Ellie. Well, like, so it was a really easy, lovely process. One of them was signed off on pretty quickly, and yeah.
I love how well, because I obviously follow you, I love how well you draw fat people.
Thank you.
You make them beautiful. I mean, because they are, but you do it in such a good way. They're just beautiful. They're just beautiful. And then you put my pug on it, which made me cry.
Oh yeah.
When they showed
you can't forget Gigi.
Yeah, Gigi. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, she grew my Gigi. I was crying.
Awful.
But you're amazing. So what medium did you use on that?
So actually, during the last year, I've been very reliant on an app called Procreate. So it's all on my iPad. But This project was probably one of the last projects where the initial sketches were done in pencil and paper. So it's kind of like, I definitely want to get back to those roots of pen and paper, pencil and paper. But yeah, it's kind of nice that this one it sticks out because I'll send you the sketches actually.
Oh, cool.
Somewhere in the archives. Yeah. So it's all digital, all done on the iPad. Then it's brought into Photoshop to kind of neaten up and complete.
Well, you did an amazing job.
Yeah.
And you even put bluebonnets, Texas bluebonnets, on her swimsuit.
Oh yeah. That was I think that might have been Kelly's suggestion, was it?
I thought it was beautiful because I'm a bluebonnet person. So
yeah.
Thank you, Ginger. And yes, Liza is the best.
All right. Well, I believe, thank you very much, Tara. That was, I love to hear illustrators talk because.
Oh, me too.
I'm so used to like everything is through email that like when people ask me in real life, I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Well, I would love to be an artist like you. It's really a beautiful cover.
Oh, thank you.
So, Lisa, rumor has it that you are going to share with us your very first book that you ever wrote.
Okay, and so you might not want to be drinking at this point, or you might want to be drinking at this point, because if you're drinking, you'll probably spit out because it's so bad. It's so bad. But I even illustrated it myself, Tara. This is why you still have a job. This is my illustration.
Oh, I love it already.
The rabbit that did not know how to jump, right? I think it's first grade or second grade. No more than second. It's horribly written, and you're going to see how many plot problems, dialogue problems, pacing problems there is. Okay. I'll try not to laugh too hard because every time I read this, I just crack up. The rabbit who did not like to hop. Father knocks on the door. Now, where Dad's been all night, I have no idea. That's a whole other book. Mother answers the door. Good morning. All kids, good morning, Daddy. So it reads like a play, not a book. Oldest, let's have a race. Smallest, but I don't like to jump. Next to oldest, ha ha ha. Father, shut up. You're going to race, and if you don't win, I'm going to send you to bed. Smallest and father, there's a big scribble, so I'm assuming that they cussed, and I edited that out. I don't know. Next to the smallest, let's start. Father, okay. Mother, what are you doing? Smallest. Mommy, do I have to? Yes, you have to, and you have to win. Now, mom doesn't even know what they're doing. See all the problems with this book. Smallest, but mom, all to the smallest. Shut up. So apparently, shut up was a big thing when I was little. Father, let's have some fun. Let's start. Mother, wait a minute. Where are you going to have a race? Oldest, here. Why? Mother, I just like to know. Father, let's start. Kids, okay, Daddy. Father, we're going to run down there and back, and the one who wins will get a prize. All kids, goody, goody for Daddy. Mother, I'm going to fix lunch. So now it's already lunchtime. So, see the pacing is really off here. Really bad. Father, let's start on your spots, get steady, and go. See, I can't even write correctly. Smallest, I won. What's my prize? Father, hold on. You will get your prize tonight. All kids but the smallest. But that's not fair. Father, let's go eat. I'm hungry. Mother, go wash your hands and sit down. Kids, okay. Mother, after we eat, go to bed. Kids, okay. And see, it's very fast paced. Picks up the pace. Maybe needed a little more detail. Mother, I'm going to wash dishes. Father, at midnight, I'm going to get Cheryl out of bed. So now the rabbit has a name, which she hasn't had before, and show her prize. Mother, what is it? I'm going to let her go get a puppy from the pound. I don't think it's wise to give a puppy to a rabbit. I'm just thinking of all that could go wrong. So, Mother, that's a good prize. And why does a pet store open at midnight? I do not know. Father, I'm going to wake her up now. Smallest, what do you want? Don't you want your prize? Oh, yes. Get up and get dressed. Smallest, goody, goody. Good and goody must also follow shut up when I was a child. But, okay, don't wake everybody else. Let's go. We're here. Smallest, I'm going to get a puppy. And they lived happily ever after.
Wow.
You see how many problems there was?
Stunning.
That is phenomenal for a first and second grader. What are you talking about?
Second grade. That's like,
I mean,
7 years of age.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I don't know. 6, I don't know. I always forget ages with things, but I read that and I go, I'm so glad that Nancy Paulsen didn't see that book before she signed a contract with me to write a book. She'd be like, yeah, you have no talent.
I don't know. I see beginnings of character development.
Yeah.
When you held it up quickly, as a former teacher, your spelling is phenomenal for second grade. So,
oh, really?
Just, give yourself another award.
Yeah, now there you go.
Yeah. All right, so let's jump into some questions. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Right, so, as a fellow author, what I was wondering as I read the book, I know that with myself, there are some things that I drop into a novel that really come right out of my real life. And then there are other things I fictionalize because that serves the book better. So could you tell us the things in the novel that are true and from your real life, and some of the things you fictionalized and why you did that?
Well, without giving away too many spoilers, the relationship that Ellie has with Gigi is very true to the relationship I had with Gigi, the one and only Gigi. Let's see if I can grab my picture frame.
Oh,
The one and only Gigi.
so good.
Glare there, but she had more clothes than I did. And she looked, she was so cute. But so that was true. The scene where the family's watching television, that was true. The scene where they're in the restaurant was true. The scene where she's going down the hall and how people treat her when she's walking down the hall is true. The incident in math class with the chair is true. Yeah.
I'd hope that one wasn't true.
Yeah,
That's awful.
It was. So a lot of them were, pretty much exactly what happened. What wasn't true was that I didn't have the support system that Ellie had. My dad died when I was really young, when I was 13 months old. And my mom was a lot like Ellie's mom, unfortunately. And so I didn't have the support that she has with her dad. And I am a survivor of several childhood traumas. And so that taught me not to talk about things. And so for years, I didn't talk about anything that was happening to me or how I felt about it. And so then, I didn't have the therapist to talk to. So I didn't have that. I did have, though, Mrs. Paulsen, the librarian, who was amazing. She's named after the librarian that I had in elementary school. And she always greeted me with a smile, and she was always asking my opinion on what I thought on books, and she was recommending books to me, and she was just amazing. And that's why I put in there about librarians and how amazing they are to kids as like a lifesaver to kids who are who need a refuge. Libraries are refuges for people, and yeah. So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
It did. It did.
Yeah.
And I guess I can segue into the next one. Before I do, I'm sorry that you endured those things as kids. I mean, as a kid, all of us who write for children, I think, really feel obviously strongly that kids should be respected and loved and protected and championed and all that. And what a testament it is to you, Lisa, that you are sitting here with a debut novel with one of the biggest publishers in the world. You're marketing, a library, and apparently doing that very well from what I can tell. So that's pretty amazing, really. I'm not at a loss for words very often. The Irish rarely are, right? So let me go into the next question of bullies. Your portrayal of bullies is heartbreaking and genuine, and now we know why. Would you say those experiences as a child still affect you today?
Oh yeah. I'm always in what I call hyper vigilant. I'm hyper vigilant for a number of reasons. Because of the different childhood traumas, not just the bullying. But I every time I walk into a room, I brace because I'm just waiting to see, is this a fat friendly room or not? Am I gonna start getting the stares or the laughter or the comments or, and so you kind of have to read the room wherever you go. And so yeah, it definitely stays with you. And I think that's really my biggest concern, is that the kids of today and the kids in the past, really, that they're not, that, if we don't stop this from happening to kids, it stays with you the rest of your life. It's so amazing to me, some of the people who've read it before it even came out today, and they will send me private comments after they've reviewed it that talk about horrible things that happened to them that are similar to what happened to Ellie and to me. And you can tell it's never going to go away for them. And it's not, it gets easier to deal with as you get older and process, but, process through what all has happened to you. But it doesn't mean that the memories aren't there and that you don't have that trigger response. When somebody says something, it can trigger what happened years ago and all that. So, yeah, definitely.
Well, your portrayal of good friends good, decent, loyal to the end, cheerleading friends. I love Viv and I love Catalina. I was wondering, one, again, if you want to expound on your real life and maybe some close friends that you've had, maybe you use those relationships to write those characters. But I was also curious as a writer, I guess, why you had Viv leave and Catalina come in. I was curious about that.
Well, I think part of it is, I don't know the term you use, Lynda, but I always say I'm torturing my character.
Yeah, I've used that word before.
Yeah, because, well, I was intentional because, studies show that fat children and fat people in general have fewer friends because the fat phobia is so systemic that it teaches people that, you don't want to be the friend of the fat person. Insert negative comment here kind of thing. And so she has basically one really good friend, and that's Viv. So to set her into turmoil, I had to get rid of Viv.
Okay.
And so that's why she moves away. But then I couldn't, I also wanted to explore what it's like for someone who, when you've been bullied so much and treated so badly by so many, it's hard to trust. And so I wanted her to learn to trust. So I had to give her a brand new friend. And that was her next door neighbor, Catalina. And so that's kind of how that came about. And Catalina and Viv are like conglomerates of different people who have been in my life. They're not one specific person. Oh. They're like, a piece of wisdom from this person in my life and a piece of wisdom from this person in my life kind of thing. Yeah.
All right, great. So let's talk a little bit about writing process. So are you a pantser where you sort of fly by the seat of your pants, or are you a planner, an outliner?
I am a pantser.
So am I.
Yay! I was hoping you would say that because then I won't feel so bad. I'm a pantser, and I think part of that is because I was a journalist for a very long time. And you don't have time to plan your stories. You just have to get them written.
Yeah.
And so, but I also think for me anyway, and tell me if I'm wrong, but I was explaining my process to Nancy, our editor, Nancy Paulsen, the genius, as I keep telling her, she's a genius. And she said that you do something similar to what I do. And that is I get like these video clips in my head of scenes. And then I kind of just start watching them and then write about them. She said you have something similar.
Yeah, I call them mind movies.
Yes. See, I call them video clips, but I'm so glad. As soon as she said that, I was like, you mean I'm not the only one in the world who sees these things in my head? Because I was kind of a little worried about that, quite frankly. But anyway, and what I think I like too about being a pantser is that I feel like I'm the conduit for the characters to talk through and for the story to be told through. And so when I'm being a pantser, it flows more naturally. And then I found myself like starting to think too much, like, oh, wait a minute, this could be a plot problem later. Or wait a minute, this could be a pacing problem later. And then I get into that planner mode and then the story starts to fall apart. And I'm like, okay, just follow the instinct of the story. And what I like about that too is that it's more organic. And I think that sometimes I'll surprise myself by what I write. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know the character felt that way. The characters live in my head for a long time before I ever start writing about them. But I'm like, oh, I didn't realize the character thought that, or I didn't realize the character felt that way. And so it's very amazing to see what happens when you're a pantser. And then the other problem I think with planning is sometimes writers can plan so much that they never get around to writing. So that's a danger zone.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think when things happen you don't expect, that's one of my absolute favorite things of the writing, about the writing process. I mean, I've been here in my office all by myself and jumped and like, no way, kind of, you got to entertain yourself. You can sit here for hours on end.
I know. How do you deal with that, Tara? Because you work alone as well. I mean, we're seeing, I think, part of your studio, aren't we?
Yeah.
There in Dublin. So what's it like for you? I mean, how do you, like, I know when I'm writing and I get like that moment, like, how do you keep yourself in the moment? Are you a pantser? Are you a plotter? Or you think of things through, or you just kind of let it happen?
I'm a procrastinator. Like I will have a very important deadline and I will do everything to avoid that deadline. And then it's like, oh, only got a day or two left before this is due. So and then magic happens. That's when if I do it like when I'm told to do it, like nothing good happens. It doesn't work that way. So I'm a last minute magic worker, I think.
But then we're all three on the same page, whether we're writing or doing art. We're pantsers.
Yeah, we are. Do you, Tara, I'm wondering, do you listen to music while you do art?
Yes. So it depends on what I'm doing. I listen to music or audiobooks. But if, like, I will sing out loud while I'm drawing. Well, I'll have headphones in. My neighbors must hate me. I will scream the house down while I'm drawing or working away. But I have gone into audiobooks lately, and I'm branching out. What about you? Do you listen to music while you write? Can you do that? Can you listen to music while you write?
Yeah, I do. I do. Actually, I pick out songs that are, I think are the character would listen to a lot, or helps me get into the character.
Yeah.
Or that gives me the attitude of the character, I guess you would say. And so one of the main songs that I listened to during the writing of Starfish was Brave by Sarah Bareilles. And I listened to that over and over. But I do have to be careful because sometimes when I get very right-minded, and there are some who will say I'm never in my right mind, but my creative right brain, I need no lyrics. So then I have some just instrumentalists kind of stuff, instrumentals that I listen to. And there is a playlist on my, thank you, Shannon Alexander, who's an amazing critique partner. Thank you very much. I do have a playlist on my website of the main songs that I listen to. So.
I see Lynn Kelly's over here. She says that she is a pantser as well, author of Song for a Whale, which is a wonderful novel, and actually is mentioned, I believe, twice in Starfish.
Yes, it's one of the books I'm going to give away.
I don't know if Lynn knows that or not. Does she?
Yes, she does. Yeah. Okay. I told her.
All right. I have been waiting to ask this question. I'm excited about it. Are you ready?
Okay, I'll brace.
If you could hand only one chapter of your book to a 12-year-old, which chapter would it be and why?
Oh, crap. Well, that's hard to do since it's in poetry, but probably the segment where she stands up to the guys in the hallway, because it's the first time that she really just lets people know, I am done. I'm done. I'm not putting up with this anymore. I'm not going to sit back and let you bully me without standing up for myself. And she does it appropriately, because that's one of the things that I want to teach kids. You know, if you're being bullied, you do have a right to defend yourself, but you need to do that without attacking the other person, because that's just, you're just going to get in a war then. You don't want that. You just want the bullying to stop without being a bully yourself.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do.
Level. Yeah. No, that was great. I love that.
Yeah.
Good answer too. I like that. All right. Okay. We're getting near the end. So for those of you who are here and participating, if you have a question, please feel free to put your questions in the comments section. And then after I get through a couple more questions with Lisa, I'll be going to those, although we'll keep an eye on the time. So I'm curious as to why you wrote this book in free verse rather than prose.
Well, that would come back to our lovely Miss Sonia Soames. First of all, someone just asked if there's a teacher guide, like a book discussion guide, and there is on my website on the resources page. Penguin put that together. So yes, a teacher's guide is on there, Lisa. I read this book, Stop Pretending, What Happened When My Big Sister Went Crazy by Sonia Soames. I was working on this book, and, you know, I have the video clips that come up in my head, and I'm writing the book, and it comes to me in free verse, but I didn't really think about it as poetry at the time. I was like, I was like, oh, this is poetry, isn't it? But wait a minute, can you do this? And so I found the book in the bookstore one day, and I opened it up, and here's this amazing poem, and I was like, I'll quickly read it because it's very short, but it says, "My whole family. I can remember what things were like before she got sick. My whole family climbed into the big hammock on the moon-dappled beach, wove ourselves together, and swayed as one." And then you start to see her family fall apart. And it's just, and I was like, that's how I'm writing my book. And wait a minute, you can write a whole book that way? Okay, cool. So that sort of gave me my permission. And then later, you know, Highlights Foundation, Highlights for Children, is an amazing, amazing organization. And they had these workshops, and Sonia, along with Virginia Ure-Wolf and Linda Oatman High, led one in free verse. And so then I got to meet and study under the amazing Sonia Soames. And so that's how we connected and became friends and all that. And she became my mentor. And yeah, so that's why I chose that instead of prose. That's just how I think. And all my books, well, most of my books at least, will be in free verse.
Yeah. Oh, that's a sweet answer. I like that. So I'm wondering what were the main differences between your middle grade version and your YA version?
Gosh, there were a lot. What's funny is that you're so sweet, Sonia. So what is funny is that the YA, when Nancy saw it, she was like, can we have a conversation? And I'm like, of course I'm going to say yes to a conversation with Nancy Paulsen. Are you kidding me? And so she was like, I like this as a YA. I'm sure it will sell, but I really think you should rewrite it for middle grade, and here's why. And then she was saying, you know, if you write it for people who are in high school or lower level college, they're going to read it and they're going to kind of reminisce and go, yeah, these bad things happened to me. But if you write it for middle grade, you're getting to the kids while it's happening to them. And because, you know, middle grade is like the worst. I don't know how it is in Dublin, Tara, but we call it grades like 5 through 8 kind of. I think that's
10 to 12, 13.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's the most horrible time to be a human. I swear to God, it's the worst time in the world to be a human. And she said we can reach them. So she's like, all you'd have to do is get rid of the romance, because, you know, you always have romance in YA, or often you do. And she goes, and then you can do this. And so I cut out all the romance, and then I cut out this, and I was like, oh yeah, I basically have to start over, no problem. But actually, it really wasn't bad. But it was great though. I mean, as soon as I started writing it as a middle grade, I'm like, oh, of course. What was I thinking?
All right, 2 more questions. Catherine Gerard would like to know, what is the hardest part of writing for you?
Well, I think it just depends. For Starfish, it was really hard because I was working full time and then taking care of my mom who has Alzheimer's. She's in late stage Alzheimer's now. So I was working 8 hours a day and then taking care of my mom the other 16 because she stayed in my house with me and trying to write. So that was the hard part, just finding the time. And so in a bad way, yet, it's, whatever it is. But the worse she got, the more time that she slept, which helped. And I know that sounds bad, but that actually became easier on me when she slept more. And so that was the hard part for that. But I think the hardest part is it's such a solitary process. Sometimes you really just want to go, wait a minute. And that's why I love a critique group. And there's several of my critique group people on here. And Virginia, I see you. And yes, I am in love with middle grade. And I doubt I will do YA now. But who knows? But Virginia was one of my critique partners. So I think that's why critique partners help so much. But I think the hardest part is that you're just, you write by yourself and then you email it to someone and they email it back. And there's no like face-to-face talking it through. I mean, you can always call, but, I don't know. It's not like, I work in a library full time. That's my day job. And, if you need people, they're around, right? And you need to bounce ideas off of people, they're around. But when you're a writer, you're all by yourself in it. And so that's kind of hard. That's why I keep the jar. Do you see the jar behind me? And I can't see, that's flipped me. So I'm mirrored. So I'm not even, you're just gonna have to find the jar because I can't find it with my fingers. But anytime anyone says something good about Starfish, I print it off and put it in the jar. And that just kind of keeps me motivated since it is such a solitary thing, writing is.
That's a cute idea.
Very cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. All right. Well, the last question I have is there any question you wish I had asked you?
No, not really. I think you did a really good job. I think you do have a future in journalism if you ever choose to.
Okay. Well, I'll let Nancy know.
Yeah. Tell Nancy Paulsen you're not going to meet your next deadline. You're going to be a journalist.
No, I'm not going to leave. I love being an author. We're blessed, very blessed.
What would you, Tara? Sorry, I keep doing that. Do you, what is there something you want to talk about just being an illustrator? Because you do all kinds of things. I've seen you just do that wonderful thing on reading for Dublin.
Oh, that was fun. For Ireland.
Yeah. Ireland Reads, yes.
Yeah. That was a big readathon that we had recently. The whole of Ireland pledged, like, I should know the number, but it was like a ridiculous amount of time to reading 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, I got to work on the website for that. That was great. Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful. They're beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Well, those are the questions that I have. If we have a great question from Kelsey Bentz. She wants to know what your next project is.
When you're a writer, I think you're always working on a project. So, but yes, I have one in particular that I'm focusing on right now because there's like 18 billion in your head and then like maybe 20,000 on paper. And then you kind of start working on one in particular. If you're like me, anyway. So yes, my next project, I will give details more about that later. Not to be coy or cryptic, but to...
No, that's
how it works.
yeah. Some authors share, some don't, and I know
I will soon.
messes with the book if they share things. So better to keep that under wraps. So we have a lot of giveaways, where you have a lot of giveaways. So
yes, we have Stop Pretending, which I keep referencing. We have Bridge Home. We have House Arrest. We have Song for a Whale. We have, obviously, one for the Murphys, which is, I have to say, my favorite one of yours.
Oh, well, thank
I love
you.
that. I love that one. I love them all, but that's my favorite. Fish in a Tree, and I'm not going to be able to hold any more in one hand. And then Shouting at the Rain, also by you. And then because it's set in Texas, I'm including this picture book.
Oh, nice.
And then because I mentioned Selena, this gorgeous picture book on Selena. Yeah. So make sure that you tweet and tag me about something that you saw or heard or learned or whatever. And I'll enter you into the drawing. And I'm trying to decide, help me decide, should I give away like 2 to each person and give to 5, or should I give to 10, or what should I do?
I don't know. I'd say 1 book a person, but you could have a repeat winner.
Oh,
the universe smiling you down, down on a particular person.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Yeah.
Who is my favorite character to write in the book? That's someone just asked me that.
Oh yeah, good question, Tessa.
It's kind of, well, obviously Ellie. But other than Ellie, it would probably be Dr. Wood. I love Dr. Wood, the therapist. She was so much fun. And a lot of her mannerisms are actually mannerisms of Shannon, one of my critique group partners.
Hey, Shannon,
if you met Shannon, you would understand. She's the one who like dresses up in a T-Rex costume and goes around the neighborhood to make people happy. I mean, she's just a lot of fun. And so, some of her mannerisms was that. So, yeah. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions in there before I do that. Do we have any questions for Tara?
And maybe we can suggest that when people make a comment to enter the giveaway, they could use Starfish as a hashtag.
Oh, that'd be great.
Then they'll gather them all up in one place.
Yeah, that'd be great. See how smart you are, Lynda. That's why you're the moderator. And I'm just sitting here.
Lisa, can I ask a question?
Sure. Yeah.
Why did you choose Texas as the setting?
Texas? I lived in Texas for a while.
Yeah.
I live in Indiana right now, but I lived in Texas for a while and I loved it down there. And I actually didn't want to move back to Indiana because I hate the snow and ice and cold. I'm not that girl. I would rather be 110 than it be 40 below zero. And but I was my mom's healthcare representative and all that. And she started having health issues even before the Alzheimer's. And I couldn't convince her to move to Texas. So I had to move back to Indiana. But I love it down there. And it has its own culture, good and bad, like all places. But I really liked it. And I love seeing the bluebonnets. Every April, the bluebonnets just sprout up and they're absolutely gorgeous. And they're everywhere. And of course, the food is amazing. because I love Tex-Mex food, like enchiladas and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
and I miss that really badly. I like really good Mexican and Mexican American and Tex-Mex food. But it's really different because, people, what's so funny is when I moved from Indiana to Texas, people said, well, are you going to go to like Houston for the weekend? And I'm like, Houston's a 10-hour drive from here. Because people forget how big Texas is, right? And I'm like, that's a 10-hour drive. I don't think I'm going to head down there just for the weekend.
Yeah.
I might fly down, but I'm not going to drive down.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a question. There was the scene where, good question, Lisa.
Good question.
The scene where she confronts her mom and the big confrontation. There's several kind of what I call mini confrontations for her mom. But the big confrontation she has after the incident with Gigi, I'm trying so hard not to give spoilers for people who haven't read it yet. And that's kind of hard. I feel like I'm talking in circles. But there's a scene where she confronts her mom. And let's just say that when I do poetry readings, I will never read that poem out loud. It's way too emotional for me. And it was very hard to write, and it would be very hard to read. And Lynn Kelly, what part of Texas? I lived in Irving, and I worked in downtown Dallas. So North Central, Northeast Texas. Oh, great question, Shannon. Take that one, Tara.
Oh, me. Yeah, my website is taraobrien.co, C-O, and there's a shop. It's fairly quiet at the moment, but it'll be up and running soon. Thank you.
Yes.
O'Brien. taraobrien.co. My name.
O'Brien. Yes, O'Brien.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I'll put a link in there, and I'm always telling people about you. So
yeah, you're very good for that. Thank you.
Yes.
So, Tara, were you one of those little kids who was drawing constantly?
Say that again?
Were you one of those kids who was drawing constantly?
Oh, yeah. I really wanted to be a fashion designer. And sadly enough, my guidance counselor in the school said that I was too fat to be a fashion designer. Skinny people could do that. So I changed lanes and ended up in illustration. So it worked out well in the end. But yeah, I walked around with a big folder full of drawings the whole time.
Well, I think that you would be a great fashion designer because I've seen pictures of you on Instagram and you have a great sense of fashion. And fat girls need some really nice clothes because they're so few and far between to find, and they're so hard to find. And then, what kills me is like they'll be covered in kittens or something, and I'm like, really? I don't know. In America, anyway.
It's butterflies that do it for me. It's the
yeah. And I'm like, no, I don't want to wear leopard print every day. And no, I don't want to wear cookies on my shirt. I don't know what they think fat people are into, but
it's getting better. Like when I think about like what I was wearing as a teenager, it's definitely improving. But yeah, gosh.
Oh, there's a question. Can you see it?
Fat Girl Rules from Doug Workinger. Fat Girl Rules, are those part of your real life or made up for the book?
Doug Workinger, by the way, for the fun fact, he is the assistant director at the library where I work. So hello, Doug. Those are actually real life rules that exist for all fat women. And so they're real, they're real. And there's so many more. I mean, I think Tara could attest to that. I mean, people are always telling you, wear dark clothes. It's more slimming. Don't show your arms. Don't show your legs.
There's one in the book, and like it's not really a spoiler, but when I read it, I was like, oh my God. And it's putting the pillow over your tummy when you sit down. that hit home, and like it's still something that I do, even though I feel like so much better in my body now. It's still something I'll do, and actually, since reading the book, I'm more mindful of it. Yeah,
You're starfishing.
yeah.
Oh, here's a question for Tara.
Pigeon
Can you
toad.
see that?
That's what's pigeon toed?
I don't know what that means either.
Is that the legs?
Towards is when your feet are toward each
That's
other.
how I stand. Yeah, like most of my fat ladies are just kind of iterations of me, and that's how I stand.
Good question.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what she meant by that either. Well, this has been fun.
It has. It's been spectacular.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
you guys.
to you
Thank
both.
you. I appreciate you joining me.
Oh yeah, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
So fun.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, everyone in the audience. I'm trying to keep this. We've got like 3 minutes. If you want to ask any more questions, now's your time.
That hour flew by. That was an hour.
And it's late for you. Bless your heart. It's 5 hours.
I'm a night owl though, so it's okay. I'll be up for another bit. I'll start work now.
Yeah. I know most artists I know are night owls. Are you a night owl, Lynda?
Oh yeah, definitely.
What is it about artists?
Pardon?
What is it about artists? We do everything at night.
I don't know. I think
It's the most quiet.
when all of my kids are home, I mean, they're grown now, but when I started writing, like when I was writing the Murphys, I had high schoolers, middle schoolers. And so when everybody was home and in bed and everybody was safe, but the house was quiet, I wrote Murphys mostly between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m.
Oh, wow. Wow.
But as I've gotten older, my clock shifts a little bit.
I just hate getting up in the morning when it's dark in the wintertime. I can't do it. If the sun's not up, I don't think I should be.
No.
It's sort of my.
Yeah, I don't mind it being dark, but I don't like it when it's cold.
Yeah, no. And here we both are in the cold. It's cold where you are too, right, Tara?
Yeah.
It's always cold here. We get summer for like maybe 3 days.
Well, actually, Lisa, the book was set in Texas and you were talking about all the ice and snow, so I thought you were in Texas.
Oh, the ice and snow in the book, you mean?
No, well, actually, before we went live and we were just sort of, chit-chatting.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm in Indiana.
No, and that big reaction, like, oh my gosh, because I thought you were in Texas.
No, I'm in Indiana now. I'm just north of Indianapolis, like 40 minutes north of Indianapolis. You've never heard of the town I'm from.
Do you think someday you'll go back to Texas?
I want to go somewhere warmer. But you know who's from where I'm from? Norman Bridwell, Clifford the Big Red Dog.
Wow.
He's from my town, and I actually interviewed Norman Bridwell several times. But anyway. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. I hope you had a good time. I hope you learned a little bit more about Starfish and Ellie and the journey. But most of all, I just thank you for joining us as we celebrated it being in the world.
Yes. Yay! Congratulations. Woo! So happy.
All right.
It's a really wonderful book. You're going to help a lot of kids with it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lynda. Thank you. And thank you, Tara, because seriously, it's just so beautiful. So beautiful. I was so scared because I've had some friends who have had book covers that were not nice. And you're like, oh no. But this one I'm so proud of it. It's so beautiful. Did a beautiful job.
Well, I do think that's one of Nancy's many gifts as covers.
Oh yeah, it's amazing to work with the whole team at Penguin Random House. It's amazing. Yeah. Nancy Paulsen Books, Nancy Paulsen, they're all amazing.
Yeah, amazing. We're lucky.
All right, well, we're gonna sign off. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Bye-bye, everybody. Stay warm and safe.
Bye.
Thanks, Tara. Thanks, Lynda.
All right. Take care, Lisa. Congrats again. You too,
Thanks.
Tara.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.